Hey Kansas City, it's Chef Tom. I'm over here at the Cardinal Cafe at Manual on Truman Road. We're at 1215 East Truman Road, Kansas City, Missouri. Just want to say hello today to Kansas City and all the points beyond. Today, we're going to make some amazing homemade blueberry muffins. One of the things that I want to talk about that in the past maybe I haven't said is that everything I do, I use a recipe, okay? Because there's nothing in the world wrong with using a recipe. Some of the best chefs I know, everything they do, even if they've made the recipe a dozen times or 100 times, they still pull it out of the box, okay? Never be ashamed to use a recipe. Today, we're going to make this blueberry muffin that has a streusel topping on it, and that's going to be made of some flour and sugar and cinnamon and butter. So as you see, we've got a 1/4 cup of cold chilled butter in our bowl, and we're going to go ahead and get a 1/2 cup of sugar. And you always want to make sure that you're measuring nice and level, okay? We're going to dump that right in. We're going to get a tablespoon of cinnamon in here. Now me personally, all my measuring cups and spoons are held together so that I'm never looking for them. If I've got one, I've got them all. Again, we just want a nice and level spoon. Dump that right in there. And then a 1/4 cup of flour. Again, a nice even measurement. Just scrape it across, make sure it's level, okay? And this streusel, you can use a fork or a dough knife, but to tell you the truth, this is something that I use my hands on, okay? We're just gonna get in there and we're gonna start crushing up that butter and mixing everything up. And this takes a minute. This does not just happen. So you're just gonna be in here, turning it and mixing it with your hands. And see that? We're just smashing up that butter, okay? And get both your hands right in there and just work that butter. And you want it to be dry in appearance, and you want to really get that butter broke down. And the reason that I like doing this with my hands is that the heat from my hands helps to break that butter down and get a better mixture. And so you see, it's starting to get to the point where it's looking like streusel. You know, that it's bunching up a little. And that's exactly what we're looking for. And I like to get my streusel done first because I like it to just sit for a few minutes after I mix it. And that way everything kind of just comes to temperature together. And then you get some nice little clumps of butter in there that melt on top of your muffins that really work nice for your caramelization. So, that right there is our streusel. Real simple, not a big deal. And man, it looks great. So we're gonna set this aside and we're gonna go ahead, I'm gonna wash my hands, and then we're gonna come back and we're gonna start making our muffin batter. I'll be right back. All right, so now we've got our streusel made. We're gonna get into really getting these muffins put together. So when I'm reading a recipe, I will read it all the way through so that I am sure that all of my mise en place, or everything in place, is together, okay? So the first thing that this calls for is 3 cups of all-purpose flour. So we go ahead and we dig our cup in there and we just flatten it out, okay? It's 1, 2, 3, 3. Now, after our flour, we're going to need 1.5 cups of sugar. Now sugar, unlike flour, will pretty much self-level, okay? See that? Then we need another 1/2 cup of sugar. And I'm telling you, that's when having your measuring cups put together comes in handy. All right, then we're gonna get to our teaspoons. We need a teaspoon of salt. Now, please don't ever measure your salt over your bowl, because the fact of the matter is that if you're pouring out of the spout and you get too much, it's in there. And once it's in, there's no getting it out. So, our baking powder is here. Remember, baking powder is what helps your product to rise. And we're gonna use 1 tablespoon, and again, you're leveling it off, and 1 teaspoon. Again, just level it off. Now, we are starting to do our wet ingredients. So what I like to do at this point is I like to take my spatula and get in there and give my ingredients a little blend. And what we do is we just make a well down here in the bottom of the bowl. And that's where we're going to put our wet ingredients right now. We're going to start with our vegetable oil, and we need 1 cup. And then after that, we're going to go ahead and we're going to take 3 eggs. Now remember, when we crack eggs, we don't crack them right into our work bowl, do we? No. Crack them to the table, into a bowl. We inspect the egg, make sure that there's no shell, that there's no unwanted protein, just a nice clean egg product, and in. Okay? Crack. Dump. Crack. Dump. And I know that you are going to get really good at cracking eggs, and you're going to be like, I'm not going to get any shell in there. Guess what? I do this because even I still get shell in things. So it's better off to just do it the right way, okay? All you want to do is the right thing when you're doing this. So our milk calls for 1 cup. So this small container is 8 ounces, and there's 8 ounces in a cup. So I really don't have a need to measure this one. And now we have 1 bit of liquid left, and that's going to be our vanilla. And we are going to go ahead and do a teaspoon of vanilla. Now, we have all of our ingredients in here. When we mix this, we're just going to come from the outside in. And the thing is, we don't want to mix this so much that it's entirely smooth, okay? We want to make sure that we're breaking our egg yolks and we're getting everything well incorporated. But here's the thing. Right here you can see that our yolks are broken and that we are about midway done in mixing this, okay? Right now is when we want to add our 2 cups of frozen blueberries. And I prefer frozen blueberries to fresh blueberries for consistency and size. So here goes 1. Here goes 2. We're just going to set these guys aside, and we're going to continue to mix and fold our batter. Now you can see that this is a thick batter. And as we mix, we're getting the rest of that egg mixture in there. But here's the thing. We don't want to go too far. We don't want it smooth. So I'm going to stop right there. Okay? It's really hard to get yourself to stop mixing because you think, oh, it must need just a little bit more. But it doesn't, okay? All you want to do is get most of the lumps out, but you still want some lumps. So we have this beautiful muffin batter. Now we are making big muffins, okay? A regular muffin pan is about half this size. So you will buy smaller papers in the store. But the fact of the matter is, if you want to make nice big muffins like they do in the bakery, this is the way to do it. Hey, we're going to take our nice big 1 cup scoop. We're going to go in, just a nice flat scoop, and in the paper. And believe me, if you can do this on a Sunday morning, you can get all of your ingredients together on Saturday night, and all of your dry ingredients can be on the counter. And then Sunday morning when you get up, you just get your wet ingredients and go to town. Look at that, 6 gorgeous muffins. What do those muffins need? That's right, a little bit of streusel. And this is so cool because our streusel just goes right on top here like this, okay? Yeah, that is exactly how we want these muffins to look before they go in, okay? I'm gonna turn on the oven and put these babies in. Now, when you're making these muffins, you're gonna cook them on 375 for 25 to 30 minutes. I like to set my timer at 20 minutes and then assess how done they are, because very simply, different people have different ovens. My ovens are well calibrated, but that doesn't mean at home you don't have an oven that might run cool or warm. So start them at 20 minutes and then check them. So we're gonna take 1 second, and what are we gonna do? We're gonna clean and sanitize this area, because that has to happen all the time. We are to a stopping point, but we're not stopping. We're gonna leave this recipe over here so that the cameraman can get a shot of that just before we close today, so that if this is something you want to do at home, you have the recipe. So we're going to start out with our wash water first. We always wash the work table first, because that has to happen. Okay? If you just sanitize a work table without washing it, you're leaving stuff on that table, and that's not good. And again, when we're sanitizing something, our sanitation water has to be 200 to 400 parts per million. Okay, we're just going to give this a quick wipe. And then guess what? We've got muffins that have been in the oven already that are coming out right now. Oh my gosh, do these smell delicious. Woo. That is a warm pan, but there is your finished product of absolutely gorgeous blueberry muffins. Nothing better on a Sunday morning. And there's the recipe that goes with them. The fact of the matter is, I hope you try this recipe and I hope you're successful with it. If there's ever anything you want to see that I'm not doing, you can email me at tbelisle@kcpublicschools.org. I hope you enjoy your food. I hope you have a great day.